Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go to one satellite, start looking left. Look for the red neon sign. Well, the UE park in the street. That covers everything. We are here. You want to have your own podcast, you can come here. You want to be on here, come on here. I want to thank everybody before we welcome Frank Viele, our guest today. I just want to say this is our 101st show, and if I did not get a chance last week to thank everybody profusely, I really appreciate it. I never imagined that I would still be going after 101. If you're listening out there, I really appreciate it. If you want to be on the show with me, reach out. If you want somebody to be on the show, tell them. I want some returns, too. There's some people. I want Matt Starr on again. I want Michael Cleary on again. I want Michael Arafay on again. I want a couple of people to come back. So if you're listening, reach out. But none of that matters today because we have Frank Viele, like I say, is here live and in person. There he is. He's right there. Do you see it? Does everyone see him? Do you see him? There he is.
I'm like the Loch Ness monster. You have to believe.
You gotta believe.
You gotta believe that I exist in order to actually see me.
He's not gonna. He doesn't appear if you don't believe. It's like Tinkerbell. You know, you gotta.
I've been called worse.
Yeah. Well, these sometimes. I mean, I love all my shows. To be honest with you, I like all my guests. But these are kind of my favorite because I don't know the answers to the questions because I've only met Frank once. Twice that I know of. So I don't really know the story. So I'm going to learn the story along with everybody. Kind of cool. Frank Viele. This I know about you. You play the guitar, and I know because you have one here with you. So that's one thing. I would assume that you probably sing at the same time that you play guitar.
Yes.
I would assume that you make music. I think I'm getting the vibe of your own. Somehow that's coming to me. And that I'm seeing you traveling. I see you traveling with your music to play for people in other places than this room. How am I doing?
I gotta say, this is like watching one of those public access shows in the middle of the country on a Sunday. Yeah. You know, where they're sitting there, you know, predicting like your future or telling you about it. How did you know that? It sounds like sounds like you have a gift.
Oh. Thank you. I have many gifts. That's merely one of them that I reveal at this time. Yeah. So tell us about yourself. You're definitely up to something. I see you on the social medias, on the interwebs, traveling, moving around, doing things. Why don't you tell us? Tell us all about it.
This feels like a really awkward first date, man.
Yeah, it's okay.
My name is Frank. I enjoy long walks on the beach, moonlight dinners, Neil Diamond on vinyl. Hey. I'm not much of a talker, but I love to listen. I'm kidding.
Hey.
I've been saying that one.
You're kidding.
Years,
I don't like Neil Diamond. Yeah. I like talking.
Started a Neil Diamond cover band calling it Neil Cubic Zirconia.
Yeah, Neil Cork.
Yeah. But my name is Frank Viele. I currently live in Hamden, Connecticut.
Hey, no addresses.
And
reveal your address.
And I've been very blessed to be an original musician.
Hey.
And I recently I won the New England Music Award for Songwriter of the Year.
Hey, say that again, slower.
New England Music Award for 2022.
Hey, we live in New England. That means here.
Yeah.
Now. You're the thing of this now.
One might say that. You know,
that's cool.
Awards are fun.
That's cool.
They're not paying off my student loans, but there's something, right?
Oh.
And I appreciate it. It means a lot, you know, when you get acknowledged for something that you love, especially, you know, for me specifically, I never thought I would be playing music for a living.
Really?
I just loved music and wanted to be a part of it. In college, I went to school for business and interned at all the record labels in college.
Oh, wow.
My career goal was to be an A&R guy for Blue Note Records.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Ended up graduating college, and after all the internships and all the business cards I had and everything that I had done, I graduated college right when the industry basically collapsed.
Oh, I got you. Sure.
And there wasn't really a good music industry job out there coming out of the city. And everybody that I had worked for that promised me a job when I graduated had all been laid off.
Whoa. So all of a sudden.
Yep. So
your loans, of course, at that moment were canceled.
Oh, no, of course not.
And they were forgiven. And
the story is I came home and I needed a good job or something.
Yeah.
And I started selling office supplies and office furniture for WB Mason.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
And
who else?
Yeah, who but?
Yeah.
And I'm blessed to say that I used the money I earned and the acumen of being able to learn how to like cold call and just knock on a door and make a phone call and say, hey, I use that to, get myself gigs on nights and weekends. Hey. When I came out of college, I had a big band that I kept going for a while. We were called Frank Viele and the Manhattan Project.
Okay.
So I had a big horn section, and we got to a good point. We played some good festivals, more in the jammier side of things.
This would have been what year?
About 2011.
Okay.
When that record dropped, and we did shows with Humphreys McGee, Mo, Sister Sparrow. We toured with Ambrosia, the Young Dubliners. It was incredible, and all that just came from that acumen of learning how to just.
You're not
pick
afraid
up a phone
to kick
call
the door
and knock on a door. Yeah. And then the band broke up 2 days before our featured performance at Snowdown, which was Mo's Winter Festival.
Oh wow.
They picked 2 rising star bands, and I'm very proud to say that Frank Viele, the Manhattan Project, was one of them.
Whoa.
But then I had to go there with 3 substitute players.
Oh.
And
we're right there.
Got through the gig, and was pretty sad. With how everything happened. And then there was a producer here in Connecticut by a gentleman named Vic Steffens that believed in me at that point when I Vic Steffens. That probably why I didn't even believe in myself at that point. And he said, you know what, man, you should just make a Frank Viele record. And I did. And it came out in 2015, and a few things fell in line, and a guy named Joe Bonamassa played lead guitar on the first single.
Oh wow! Hey.
Actually, there was 2 lead guitarists. It was Joe Bonamassa and a gentleman who ended up being a good friend of mine, still is, a guy named Tim Palmieri from Kung Fu. So I released my first single with 2 of those guys on guitar, and that led to my first national tour because I got a call from a guy named Zach Myers who plays guitar in a band called Shinedown.
Okay.
And he brought me on my first national tour.
Wow.
In front of his side project, which is called Alan Mac Myers Moore.
Okay.
Which is him and his 3 best friends from Memphis.
Yeah.
And it's like a Crosby, Stills, Nash Young kind of thing. So I went from playing shows around the Connecticut region, solo, and kind of trying to fill that shops up to I hopped in my Jeep Patriot with 1 side view mirror and no hubcaps. Huh. I had Thanksgiving dinner or Easter dinner early with my mom. Said goodbye, and I drove from Hamden, Connecticut to Omaha, Nebraska.
Whoa.
And I was on the road for 40 days and came back home, and my life was changed. I did another tour soon after with Season 9 American Idol winner, Lee DeWise.
Okay.
And I tell everybody that when I was on the road then, that Zach Myers and his guys taught me how to rock and have fun on stage.
Nice.
And Lee DeWise taught me how to bring the crowd down to a pin drop.
Hey, there you go.
And that was amazing for a kid. That again was, when I went and I took that first tour with Zach Myers, I had to go to my boss at my day job and ask him for 40 days off to tour the country.
Wow.
Right. Luckily they gave it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm still an indie musician.
Mm-hmm.
And then I made my second record here in Connecticut with Vic, and it did some things. Like any indie musician, probably didn't do as much as I wanted it to.
Sure.
Record 1 kind of burnt me.
Oh, really?
Right. Releasing it as an indie is not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy, man.
I can't imagine.
Booking your own tours, funding your own marketing and promotions with, office supply sales and all that type of stuff. It was an incredible experience. But by the time I was ready to put that second record out, I can be honest with the world now and tell y'all that I was pretty beat up.
Oh, really?
And so I put that record out, and it did okay for me.
Yeah.
It didn't do as much as I wanted to, but it did okay for me.
Yeah.
And the one thing it did do for me is it won me the 2018 Songwriter of the Year award in New England for the first time.
Hey, that's cool.
New England Music Award. And that led me to some unique opportunities. I started to get some phone calls and, opportunities to make records in Nashville.
Yep.
And I didn't really know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And this kind of brings that to how you and I met.
Yeah.
Because I called a woman who is I still affectionately consider my rock and roll mom, a woman named Christine Ullman.
Of course. Yeah.
And I said, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I take you to lunch? So we met at the Panera by her house. And I told her,
What'd you have? Pick two?
I think she did the pick too. I want the full sub. I want the full sandwich.
Yeah, sure,
right?
sure.
You know.
I'm throwing all these out in case I get average sponsors.
Hey, if you get a Panera gift card, if you get a nice big Panera gift card, we're splitting.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
you know
fine.
what I mean?
That's fine.
You can have the chips. I'll have the apple. Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I said to her, I'm having these opportunities to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
I don't know, when you're an indie musician.
Yeah.
And you had been through what I had gone through, kind of like that journey of trying to carry a dream of a record of a real career in music on your back. You for lack of better words, you meet a lot of snakes in the grass.
Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, boy.
And so I didn't know, it's hard to find out, who you can trust and who you can work with out there.
Nashville's a pretty big grass.
A lot of grass. And I wouldn't say the people coming out of there were in that space, but the people offering to bring me there might have been. And I met with Christine and I said, what do I do?
Yeah, yeah.
She looked at me, and you know her well, and she's not one to mince words. She said, "You don't belong in Nashville."
Is that right?
I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "They're too pretty for you."
Oh, really?
I said, "Yeah, what do you mean?" She goes, "You belong in Muscle Shoals."
Oh, hey.
And I said, "Why do you think that?" She said, "Go home. I know you, Frank. I've spent a lot of time with you. I know your record collection. Go home, listen to pull out a bunch of your favorite records, read some more of those liner notes, and tell me what you consistently see."
Yeah. Okay.
And she was right.
Okay.
So I
So
started.
you just thought, I got to take Nashville because it's offered instead of let me, like Vic said, dude, don't start another band. Do your thing.
Yeah, and so what ended up happening was
They got the vision, those people.
that same Songwriter of the Year award I won had apparently piqued some people down there as well, and was very lucky to have some dots connected by Christine. And I got a phone call from a pair of producers down there, and they said, "Send me what you're working on."
Yeah, yeah.
So I had some demos I recorded on my cell phone. They a guy named Jimmy Nutt, and he called me up and he said, "I like what you're doing. How do you feel about coming down to Muscle Shoals and writing some songs with me and a buddy of mine?"
Hey.
I had never written with anybody but myself before.
Okay.
I was a very,
Not even in your band.
Nope.
Okay.
That was always me.
Okay.
It was always me bringing it to the table, right?
Yep.
I didn't have any schooling on it. My schooling was my record collection.
Yeah, well,
right?
we're going to get,
Yeah. And I show up to Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Wow.
I sit down with two guys in the studio. I walk in the studio, and at first I'm shocked because I'm seeing pictures of some incredible people on the walls. Heroes of mine, people like Jason Isbell, Chris Stapleton. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a picture of Christine in there. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I sit down with two guys I don't really know. And again, I try not to research or rehearse things because that's a great way to get in your own head, right?
Gotcha.
I sit down, and in about 4 hours, we eat lunch and we write 2 songs. And they were the best 2 songs I had ever written.
Oh.
And I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I go back to my hotel room and I research who I just wrote songs with.
Oh, boy.
And it's Jimmy Nutt, my producer.
Yeah.
And a guy who ended up being my co-producer, a guy named James LeBlanc, who wrote Modern Day Bonnie and Clyde for Travis Tritt, 9 songs in the New Kid Rock record, everything you can imagine. And these two guys were, you're a music lover. This was Rick Hall's top engineer and songwriter for the last 25 years of Rick's life, pretty much. And they'd done the work with Jason Isbell, Chris Stapleton, all those guys. And I flew home. A bit kind of wowed by the experience, and 2 days later the pandemic hit.
Oh God. Yeah.
And so I a bit lost, but like feeling like I just like saw the promised land and I can't go back.
Wow.
And after a few weeks they reached out, or Jimmy, my producer, reached out and he said, "Hey man," he goes, "We listened to those demos we recorded, and again just on the cell phone. It wasn't anything." He goes, "I think there's something special here.
Wow.
We should write a record."
Hey.
And we, over the pandemic, we wrote a record.
Wow.
Through FaceTime.
Yeah.
Then about 2 days after the election, I put my drummer and my bass player in my van, my beat up van, and we drove from Connecticut to Muscle Shoals. Wow. And in 5 days we recorded 10 songs, 7 Stern.
Hey.
Came back home. The world was really in flux.
Sure.
Didn't know what to do. Didn't want to release any of these things because I really believed in them.
Right.
Released some other music instead that I wrote locally and recorded at Carriage House around here and whatnot. And that did pretty good for me. All the money went to charities. It was great.
Yep.
And then kept listening back to this record that we recorded 10 songs.
Yep. Why didn't you want to release it at that time?
I'm an indie artist. I'm building new fans.
Okay.
My whole life I built fans by touring.
Okay.
I couldn't tour.
I see.
How was I going to? I felt like I had this music that was so special.
Right, and you didn't want to just throw it away.
And I also knew that in my mind, and maybe this is one of those, you kind of like analysis paralysis things.
Yeah.
But I felt like I had something special, and I didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to analyze it because I'd been down that road before, and then I analyzed it a lot. My producer analyzed it a lot, and then we had a conversation, and we said, "Listen, I have one problem with this record." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "It's 3 different artists."
Oh.
I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think this is what you do the best." And I said, "Well."
Producer does.
Yeah. So I said, "You want to write some more songs?" And at the same time, I had gotten that writing bug, writing with these pros. So I had written about 40 songs on my own during that time frame. We went through them all. I went back with my band and recorded another 11.
Wow. Hey.
And I sat back with a batch of 21 songs. Picked 13.
Yeah.
So this is the album.
Yeah.
And then I had this album ready to go. And I signed with my first management company. And they looked at me and they said, "Kriller record, not getting released for a while." I said, "What do you mean?" They go, "We got to release one song at a time. We got to build you up."
Oh. Well.
So 4 weeks ago, I released my first single.
Wow.
And that's where my head's at. And I just got back from a 1.5 month long tour from Colorado to Texas by way of the Midwest and Northeast.
Wow.
And
so we're going to hear these one at a time, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but unfortunately, for a little bit.
Do you?
But
that's a good plan. You could see it how that might work.
I can, because
you trust that you trust the plan.
I could tell
you'd rather just drop it, or you don't know.
Yeah,
you want to drop it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a vinyl enthusiast. I do this thing where I listen to 365 records every year, cover to cover, and I make a Spotify playlist with my favorite song off each album. Sure. My fans follow it. So
I do.
End of the year, 365.
Love it.
And I'm on my 3rd year of doing it in a row. And I'm by the end of this year, because I allow myself to recycle the record every year if I want to.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to really push myself.
Sure.
So I'm pretty close to, by middle of this year, I should hit 1,000 different albums.
Wow, that's great.
And so I love the album.
Yeah,
I love the art of sitting down and listening. But for a potential fan that doesn't know my music,
Yeah.
asking you to listen to one song for 3.5 minutes
Right.
is a tall order.
Yeah.
Asking you to listen to this album that spent 3 years to make, right? I have a good batch of existing fans, and trust me, they're all asking me where I want the record. I want the record, and I'm thankful for them, and I'm begging them to be patient with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see both sides of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's all different in a way. Like you say, how much change you went through from the beginning of that thing. Everything changed so many times that you're like, okay, if this is the way it's going to be now, you're going to build the demand one song at a time. And then I would imagine at the end, right, you're going to have it all.
Yeah.
Then you'll have the album.
My game plan is to announce a vinyl pre-order.
Yeah.
In the next 30 days.
Sure.
For the whole album.
Yeah.
And
what's the release? So one song, how often? It'll take you. How long is it going to take for all 13 or whatever?
I wish there was a plan.
Okay.
You know, I could tell you that we released the first one mid-January.
Okay.
And then I went on tour for it.
Yeah.
And it's been received extremely well. Every review that came back has been a 5-star
That's the one
review.
you sent me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And it's growing legs. We just put out a lyric video for it.
Cool.
And stuff like that. But, you know, it's I love the song so much.
Yeah.
I want to squeeze everything out of it before I put the next one out.
Maybe that's the way to do it. I guess we'll find out, right? If that's the way it is.
It just kind of feels like you're throwing spaghetti up against the refrigerator and seeing what sticks.
Well,
gotta be honest with
if
you.
you got, well, like you say though, if you have a lot of spaghetti, like you said, you had 3 different lanes. Like they said, do this, and you have that many things. Why not? Just throw that one thing up, see what happens. How would you characterize? Were you surprised when they said that? To you, it's all you. So do you hear it the way they did, where they said, "Hey, this is 3 different artists"?
After they showed it to me,
okay,
I said, "Yeah, I get that."
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess it kind of does make sense because my taste in music's extremely eclectic.
Right. Sure.
And my writing was never really, prior to this album, prior to the finalization of this album, my writing was never really regimented.
Right.
I wrote how I felt.
Sure.
If I was feeling something, I was writing it, right?
Sure.
And if I was listening to a lot of hip hop at the time, the track might be a little funkier, right? If I was listening to a lot of blues, it might come across a little more old school bluesy. Like it was just all there, and I didn't really try and filter it.
I know this is a crazy question, probably that you can't answer or probably shouldn't answer, but what if they're wrong? What time limit do you give yourself? You just go, you know what? I tried to zero in on one thing and it didn't get me further. You just go back to like song by song. This is a hip hop song. This is a funky song, whatever. First of all, how would you characterize your 3? When you think about it,
I think if I had to characterize like the 3 things that we're hearing
that they
on this
pointed
record,
out. Yeah.
There was definitely like roots rock.
Okay.
Right, which is where we pretty much ended up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a funkier kind of side. Again, I came from the
jam.
I came from the jam band scene, right? Like
sure.
I used to write groove first versus lyric first.
Sure.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then there was this. I would call it like pseudo soul ballad thing.
Okay.
Right. You know, like I grew up on that Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, Ray Charles tip.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
And some of those song structures that lean a little more towards like traditional blues or gospel song structures were all kind of, there was some of that in there too.
Yeah.
Right. But,
Sounds like a Chris Stapleton type of.
Kind of.
To generalize.
Yeah, kind of.
That's what I hear from him.
It was there. It was there.
Yeah.
But the roots rockers.
Yeah.
Just, were so effortless on the recording side. Mm-hmm. You know, the other stuff, what about this? What about that? The other stuff just kind of poured out. And when I thought about it in hindsight, I looked at all the final tracks that I really felt made the best record.
Yeah.
I sat back and listened to them and I was like, these were the ones that were the easiest to record.
Yeah.
The ones that fell out of my pen just easily. And so there was something there.
Right. That's cool. So you don't disagree?
I don't.
Yeah. Well.
In hindsight, I don't. Now it's harder. you know, being in Connecticut and being a roots rocker versus being a jam bander.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard,
so?
it's harder to pack clubs, but you know, that's, you know, comes a point where you gotta be a little bit true to yourself.
Well, yeah, that's what they say. That's what I've heard people say that. I guess you'll find out. You're going to find out.
Gotta take a shot, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. That's cool. You going down again to Muscle Shoals?
I'm looking at houses on Zillow.
Oh, really? All right.
I love it down there.
That's gonna be your thing, really. I've never been. What's cool about it?
It's got everything that's cool about a music town in regards to like everywhere you go, there's an awesome musician. Oh, cool. Right? There's a lot of there's an appreciation for the arts, right?
Yep.
But it doesn't have bachelorette parties running around. It doesn't have like clubs and bars in every corner.
Gotcha.
There's like 3 spots that'll have live music every night.
Yep.
And it's incredible. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
like, you know, like there's, you know, you go to Flobama on Tuesdays and you're going to see, you know, Fathers and Sons, which is, you know, Kelvin Holly, who is Little Richard's musical director and guitar player. And, you know, he plays there with a killer band every Tuesday night and it's free to get in. Right. Yeah. And you sit at the bar and you get a rack of ribs, you know, and a couple beers or whatever it is, a couple Diet Cokes, whatever it is. And your tab is $11. And you're like, what is going on? This place is amazing. Right. And what I like about it is like being a Northeast guy, Connecticut guy, everything, including the music, just always felt fast paced.
Yeah.
Down there, there's something special about spending some time in a place where that still shuts down on Sundays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
that's funny.
That I dug it. And
maybe you're natural born. You don't even know. You're born in the wrong place. Maybe.
I spent a lot of time with my grandma growing up, who was a stride piano player from Macon, Georgia. So
hey, well, there you go.
It's very much possible.
You know what I mean? You're at the wrong pace. You're at the wrong pace.
I got used to this pace, you know. I can I don't mind it. I just I think when it comes to creating, and especially with all the years I've spent on the road, it felt good to just be able to like I mean, you're an incredible musician yourself, and so you know what making records is like, right? And around here, when you make records, sometimes you're here till midnight. You know, I used to be in that studio like them. You start at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
If you're there at 10:01, you might as well not even show up.
Really?
But you start at 10 a.m. At 12 noon, you get lunch.
Yeah.
You stop no later than 5 o'clock.
I got you.
But the amount of work they get done during that time is unbelievable.
Yeah, right. We're like screwing around all night.
I mean, I didn't say we're screwing around, but it's like you know, I remember walking in the studios and not specifically the one I made my records at.
I don't get up at 10. Did you notice when you texted me there was no answer for hours? I wouldn't make it.
But no, I mean, I've been in studios before where they're like, here, let's see, you know, what mic is going to sound good on this acoustic guitar, and you do it for hours, right?
Yeah.
Them, you walk in, they know what mic goes on that guitar, and it's already set up, and it's already EQ'd, and it takes 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's a machine.
Sure.
You know, and so it was such an incredible experience. I wouldn't change it.
Did you ever go to Nashville?
I just played there. I just played City Winery in Nashville about a week and a half ago, and that was my first official Nashville showcase.
And you thought you made the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been through the town a few times on tour, and I love the music out there, and I would never say anything about it, right? But me personally, I think that this recording experience for me was one where I needed to find where I wanted to go and who I wanted to be as an artist.
Yeah. You think Nashville, you would have been more forced?
There's too much noise.
Yeah.
There's too much stuff going around for me. I wouldn't have been able to focus the way I was in Alabama.
Hey.
I got a beautiful, we got an Airbnb that was walking distance to the studio, right?
Yep.
Had 6 bedrooms, a dining room, a library,
a
beautiful kitchen.
Yeah.
It was $85 a night.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, this place is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, but it was relaxing. It was different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you need to really, when you're really trying to discover what your next move is as an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
Instead of stressing over every little thing. Yeah, sounds good to me. Cool. Well, when's the next track? When's it drop? You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know. I was going to tell you March.
Let this one do what it does.
Yeah, you know, we're it used to be this is kind of what I think.
Yeah.
I think it used to be you try and amp up everybody. It's coming for 3 months, and then it drops.
Yeah.
Now, you just drop it.
Yeah.
And then you spend all this time trying to push.
Telling people it's here.
It's here. Look,
Yeah,
you can get it right away because nobody wants to wait for 3 weeks for anything anymore.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
So it's
gotta flip it.
Every day it's kind of a new venture, but I love the tune.
Yeah.
On the way here, I was talking to a video guy that I love, and we were talking about creative ideas to put cool video ideas to the tune and things of that nature. It's really just about trying to get as many ears and eyes.
Yeah.
Really as many ears on the song as possible because I believe in it.
Yeah. That's cool. Is there, well, I don't want to give it away. Is there going to be an overall theme to the whole album or no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think...
is it all going to make sense when it all...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the last EP I released a little over a year ago was an EP called Time is a Thief. And it was really tied to this whole concept of, wasting time and not really.
Shut that door. There you go. Thank you.
That Time is a Thief was really tied to this whole concept of, valuing time, valuing what you have and gaining perspective.
Yeah.
And the writing process behind that EP was an important one to me. And I think that I walked into this Muscle Shoals experience with perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
And understanding my journey. Like you asked me, who am I?
Yeah, yeah.
I've never rehearsed that, but I've spent a lot of time the last couple of years trying to understand my journey and how I ended up to where I am now.
Yeah,
because it wasn't planned. So I think this record is gonna kind of be about that, right? Like the song I released is called "Hearts We Left Behind."
Yeah. And
it's a story, but it's the theme of that song is that understanding that you got to learn to value yourself.
Yeah.
And know that if you think you deserve better, then you do deserve better. We all deserve better. And
sure.
The song is a story about two people who have, kind of just been through it in their own lives. And then they get to this point where they cross paths with each other. And then they realize that it's all those scars that they developed and everything that went through that made them who they are.
Yeah.
And it's allowed them to appreciate themselves and each other for that purpose. Yep. And that's where that line comes, just burning bridges over hearts we left behind. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
And that's it's actually the one of the songs I wrote on that first day in Muscle Shoals.
And this reflects a relationship, I would imagine, that you're currently in, or is this all fiction? Not to pry, just trying to tie it in.
What I can say is that I have a hard time writing in pure fiction. Mm-hmm. Right? I think that's where I think a big goal of art is the ability to express oneself, learn how to express others. Sure. And then I think the best art is something that you can truly connect to. Yeah. Right? And so there is that element of it. So I would say that it is inspired by many elements of my life, but I wouldn't call it an exact telling of history.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's cool. All right, listen, we're at the halfway point. Real quick, how did you get started in music? What's your family history deal? How'd that all happen? What brought you to making music? Then we'll talk records. Then we'll get to that.
Nice. Yeah. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
I think I landed in music the same reason all of us land in things like that. I think that if you go through tough times, especially when you're younger, you look for something to grab onto.
Yeah.
And for me, I had my life had changed drastically when I was a kid. I had lost my stepfather relatively suddenly, very suddenly, when I was 16 years old.
Oh boy.
And it was kind of me and my mom versus the world for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I had a guitar. My older brother had left one at the house when he graduated college and decided to drive cross country. And it was my dad's old guitar.
Hey.
And started playing on it. And I fell in love with the band, the Dave Matthews Band.
Okay.
And I used to do this thing with my two buddies from high school where, like, you know, I would tell my mom I was sleeping at his house. He would tell us when I was sleeping at my house. Then we would hop in his car. We would drive to Ohio to see the Dave Matthews Band for 3 nights.
Right.
And I learned how to play guitar in the parking lots of his concerts.
Hey.
And so to this day, people ask me, like, you know, where does your guitar style come from? Yeah. And truthfully, if I break it out, my left hand, which is on my fretboard, is blues. I listen to a lot of B.B. King, listen to a lot of soul, a lot of funk, a lot of rock. My right hand is Dave Matthews.
Hey.
I play constant strum, just like he does. I didn't know it's what I was doing when I did it.
Yeah.
But it's always been hilarious because it's like, you know, when I went to my first writing session, Muscle Shoals, and I pulled out a guitar, the first thing they said to me, they goes, "Oh, so we don't need a guitar player for your record."
Yeah, right.
I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, no, what you're doing is you." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah,
You don't know. It's just how I learned. Like before I learned my scales and all my chords, I was playing Ants Marching, right? It's just like, you know, I was copying him on guitar tabs on my computer, you know, and that was the my gateway into playing guitar, and then eventually writing songs with my bands in high school. And I didn't start singing until I got into college, and I got in an argument with the singer in my band. And
like, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, and I basically I quit, and I said, I don't like the way you're singing these songs, and how can you consider yourself a songwriter if you don't know who Bob Dylan is? You know, I went through that phase, right?
Sure.
And
wait, who?
Well, exactly, right? You know what I mean? You know, and and I fell deep into just understanding music, understanding what I liked about it, understanding what other people liked about things I didn't even like, and next thing I knew, I was writing songs.
Hey, it's pretty cool. Just making it all happen, taking it all in, and then making it all happen. It's pretty cool. It all comes out one way or the other.
Yeah, you go around this merry-go-round once, right?
That's right.
Might as well squeeze everything out of it, man.
Yeah, why not?
As long as the juice is worth the squeeze, you got to squeeze, man.
Who said that? I don't know. Is that a Dylan song? I don't know.
No, it's not. It should be. I'll be real.
Oh, is that you didn't just preview your next song?
No, I didn't. Okay. I did. I should be. It should. No, the funny thing is
it's all code.
Out of all things you take and all of the wonderful music and lyrics that I've read, I use that line in conversation. Is the juice worth the squeeze? I use it 20.
Say it again.
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Okay.
I use it like 26 times a week, and I couldn't figure out where I got it from.
That's interesting.
And then I was on tour with Lee DeWise. For the last 5 weeks, we were just me and him in his car. Yeah. We were driving from like Omaha to like Chicago, or Omaha to Michigan, and I said that line. I was on the phone, with my day job, and someone called me. Should I do this? I said, I don't know. You think the juice is worth the squeeze? He looked at me and goes, "Where did you get that from?" I said, "I'm not sure." And we thought about it. I stole it from a 90s movie called The Girl Next Door.
I don't even know that one.
It's not even a great movie.
That's funny, but you remembered.
Yeah, it's like a late 90s like chick date flick, right? It's like one of those like
That's funny.
Somewhere in between 10 Things I Hate About You and A Walk to Remember, right?
Those are just words to me. I don't
movies featuring Mandy Moore and stuff like that. Basically, is what I'm saying.
So somebody,
or
and that stuck with you,
or half the cast from American Pie, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
stuck with you. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that happens to me. I'll be like, I don't know where. I've been saying that for years, and I don't remember where it came from. Probably another stupid movie. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Wow. All right, records. What's your deal? You're 300 every day. A new one. A new one. Ones that you've never heard before, or not necessarily.
I go for I try and pull and see how I feel, and now I hit that point where it's like I try and pull and see how I feel.
Yep.
Without duplicating myself.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's hard because I'm on year 3. I've definitely listened to a lot of my favorites and I miss them.
But you can't go back.
I'm trying not to. Trying
That's
not
cool.
to,
No, that's cool.
right? I mean, I give myself a little bit of an allowance, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
technically in 3 years, I will have listened to 365 times 3. So that's,
Yeah. Right.
180, 100, that one.
1,000
So, yeah, that's 1,195 records.
Wow.
I'm hoping to hit 1,000 unique records,
Wow.
right? So I can
Yeah.
give myself duplicates 195 times, right?
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But, you talk about perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I can tell you is this. There is no shortage of awesome music out there.
No, I agree.
Like I sit there and I look at like, oh, I only got, 600 people have only listened to my music so far on Spotify this month. This is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And then I think about it again and I'm like, 600 people chose to listen to my music when it's just as easy to get Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just
yeah,
easy.
right.
When you think about that, right?
Yeah, sure,
perspective, right?
Totally,
I mean, think about it. It's
totally.
we all have the same distribution mechanism now.
Totally.
Anybody that gets 50 million people to listen to them,
Yeah.
I'm all hands for it because it's like, wow, it's just as easy to type Frank Viele into your phone as it is to type the Beatles.
Right.
Right. So
by that metric, that's a success. I hear you.
Perspective, I mean,
Totally.
So
I hear you.
I found a lot of great stuff and
All vinyl.
Okay. And the big thing for me is I'm very big on trying to understand trends.
Okay.
Not because I use them in any way to like, I want to understand social media trends. No.
I'm just curious.
It's because I'm a student of life. I'm a student of people.
Sure.
Right? And one thing I felt that was going to be the great demise of the music industry was the ease of access and turn the devaluing thereof.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning like, I would go on a date with a girl. I'd be like, what do you listen to?
Yeah.
And the answer wasn't, I just picked up the new record from The National. I've been listening to it a lot. It feels really good to me. I'm digging this tune.
Sure.
It was, I put on this playlist when I'm at the gym or when I'm cooking, I tend to listen to blues or whatever. It was while I'm doing something, this is on in the background.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I found myself falling into that same trap.
I got
where
you.
it was like I'm driving. When I'm on tour, I listen to this, or I'm driving around, put on this. I'll listen to Elvis Springsteen record, whatever it was. Right? I wasn't pushing my ear. I wasn't understanding the music.
Yep.
Most importantly, I was giving more attention to an episode of Sons of Anarchy on my television than I was to that Freddie King album.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, something's got to change here.
Yeah.
And so that was my reason for going that route.
I got you. Just to refocus. Yeah. I don't know if this is the same kind of thing, but I don't even know how to entirely address it, but it's an idea. I don't know if this is the same thing or whether you'll understand what I'm saying, but I don't know when. I think this happened. Probably, I don't know if it happened. Anyway, we used to look to musicians and artists to challenge us or to show us like they're cooler than us. So we look to them of like, okay, these are the cool people. Let me see what their life is like. And it seems to me, I don't know where, but a lot of people, they want the artist to reflect their life. It's like a closed system. It's like, I remember, you hear, kind of country songs. I remember when this started to happen when they're singing songs about having a job. I'm like, you don't have a job, bro. You're a musician. I want to hear about your life, not reflect my life back at me, because then there's nowhere to go. Does that make sense? Like, we look to artists and musicians to have more interesting lives than ours, not the same or less interesting. I mean, sometimes you want something that you feel that you're on the same level as, and that's kind of like music as commodity, like what you're saying. You go, well, I just listen to this when I'm at the gym. It doesn't challenge me. It lets me know that we're on the same wavelength and everything's good. So there's no forward. There's no, like you say, you're not being challenged. You're not trying to hear from someone else's point of view. You want someone that's going to confirm the point of view that you already hold. You're like, good, we're good. I put this on when I'm cooking. I put this on when I'm cleaning. I put this on when I'm at the gym. Like what you're saying, there's no way out. Music is just here as a commodity, as an accessory to the life I'm already living, as opposed to being challenged.
If you think about
I say both, but
if you think about historically.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does. But if you think about historically, music, the artists that impacted us, right? The news used to be delivered by one person that we all trusted on the television. Right? That person worked hard, supposedly, to earn a voice.
Sure.
And it was a voice we trusted.
Okay.
Then musicians would be the counter voice to that. They might speak for more of the people, right?
I see.
They spoke for you. Bruce Springsteen spoke for you. Dave Matthews spoke for me.
Told you what you weren't hearing from that.
Or made me understand my own feelings. Right? That's the thing is, art is important for that space.
Sure.
What has happened, maybe, theoretically, is that social media has given everybody a voice.
Okay.
And now it's not about having that voice or challenging. It's about sifting through it to find a connective tissue, a community with an artist that tends to speak, right? Like, for example, I'm here today, right? Yeah. And hopefully there'll be people who have never heard of me that see this interview today and say, oh, that guy's got a cool story.
Let me check
Maybe I'll listen to his music. Where it used to be, I heard his music, I wonder what his story is.
I see. Sure.
It's different.
Sure.
It's different. Like, the fan demands more from the artist. And I mean, it's wonderful in many ways. I mean, I went to my concert in Wisconsin about 3 weeks ago, and I went to my table after my set, my merchandise table, signed some stuff and whatnot. And a really kind lady that saw me open for John Waite came and she handed me a Larkin Poe album on vinyl. I've never mentioned Larkin Poe. I've heard of them, never heard their music before. She said, my husband and I follow your record collection and we follow your record listening journey online, and we really thought you'd like this record, so I wanted to give it to you.
Hey. Right. Like you would never, that's a connection at some level.
And you think about that, right? And then, I'm at that fun phase in my career where I probably can't draw 100 people anywhere, but I can draw 5 in like 40 states. And there are people that, like, it's amazing that doesn't matter when I go to Omaha, Nebraska.
Right.
Those same 5 people are coming. The moment I announce it, they put the X on their calendar, and it's a moment in their life, and they're part of my life, and I'm a part of theirs. Gotcha. Now I could say that I it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's when you're in the mindset of trying to grow your fan base enough to have keep a roof over your head, you sometimes feel like you're letting people down by not having that connection with everybody. Okay. And that's a whole nother scenario, and you read about it online now. Musicians with mental health struggles and things of that nature. It's all tied to that.
Wow.
What's next? What I posted this on TikTok yesterday. What am I going to post today?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a delicate balance. It's a fun little world. But I'll tell you, every time I have a moment like that with a fan where they do something like that,
you're like, they actually heard me.
Yeah.
For real. Unspoken level.
Yeah. The way I look at it is, you remember those Matchbox cars?
Yep.
The ones
I swallowed one once.
Yeah, I'm sure I still have some of my intestines. But the ones that used to wind back.
Yep.
And then they would go for a while.
Oh yeah.
What I can tell you is, as an independent musician, it's those moments that wind me up.
Yep.
And then give me enough strength to push myself out of bed today, put on a funky Frank Viele hat, and come down here and do an interview with you.
Head to Omaha.
Or head to Omaha, sleep in a $64 a night hotel, whatever it is. It's that's the mission.
Or an $85 a night mansion in Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, it depends on where you are. I tell you, big difference between hanging in Alabama and then spending 3 nights in Chicago.
Well, you know what? I can say, I think with fair amount of confidence, that if you say that you don't always draw more than 100 people, I think that I can guarantee you almost 100 people might hear this. I know. It's hard to believe. I'm being funny.
I gotta be real with you, man. I'm just enjoying talking to you about music.
You know what? Whatever.
And honestly, and that's like the biggest thing for me now. And that's the switch that I had to change in my head during the pandemic, during all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It was like you push for success.
Yep.
And you forget to enjoy the journey.
Sure. Yep.
And so for me, that's my switch now, man.
Yeah.
My switch is, oh, dude, I'll come do a podcast.
Sure.
Dude, you're a killer drummer. You're a great guy. And I see you talking about records online, and I'm like, oh man, I want to be this dude's friend. I'm coming in, right? Like, and that's the reason I'm here.
Hey, right. As opposed, it's a whole other story. But yeah, I just making this up for the thing. And if people want to observe the conversation, that's great.
What I like about this is, I want to do what you do because I just want to talk to interesting people. Not that I'm interested in, but in general, like, you could guess 1 out of every 10 might be very interesting, and then you can put it on the internet, right?
Stay tuned. You can learn how to have your own podcast right here in our studio. Yeah, no, I agree. No, it's been great. I love it because I get to talk to people. Well, we never talked anywhere near this long, but there's some people I've played music with for freaking 30 years. I've never had a 1 hour uninterrupted conversation with them about how did you start playing? And you learn something about this jerk that I've known forever. I'm like, wow, this is great. Just because of this setting is worth it. Yeah. So
I mean, our stories, I was doing the gospel show with Christine, which I haven't done every year. It's how her and I became friends. She brought me in as a guitarist. And I think the first thing you ever said to me was move over. Because we were at rehearsal and you couldn't see Christine.
Yeah, I had to.
And I was sitting there with no rehearsal trying to figure out the chords to the song. And the other guitarist I was supposed to be backing up wasn't there. And I was like, what's going on? Right? But this is my first experience with you. And then my second experience is on that great stage with a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And man, I just loved the way you played.
Oh, thanks.
When that show was done, I just wanted to be your friend. I just wanted to be closer to you, man.
Hey, see, it draws people in. No, I mean, anyway, not that it's about that, but yeah, I haven't played with Christine, so I'm I'm the bag man. Sometimes if people call me in a pinch, and that's what she did. She called me in a pinch to do that gig, because all I do is watch whoever I think it's coming from. And with her, it's clear that it's coming from her. Mm-hmm. And all I have to do is just watch their hands. I just watch their hands and make my hands go along with their hands and go, okay, that's where it is. Okay. I think I see where this is. And then I'll take a look around and go, all right, am I matching up to anyone else? And hopefully everybody, yeah. And if you just because I was late. So you sat in the sight line and I was like freaking out because I'm like, dude, I need to see her hands just because I need to figure out where this is.
What you didn't know is I was doing the same thing, trying to stare at her hands. So
no, you didn't know there was a chair there. Yeah. I mean, you didn't realize. Yeah. But that's all I was doing. It's just like that. That's my survival. Is just like I gotta. I learned that early to survive is like watch the front person. It's nice if the bass player I don't care about any of these fools. The singer. The person that's doing the thing, if you lock with them and you see their body relax because they're not fighting against you, and the way you do that is just do what they do. And then when you see them start to relax and just do their thing, then you're like, that's it. There is no other job. My job is to protect it and allow you to. Anyway, so that's what I was doing. But
it was crazy because Christine, every year we do that, she'll always send me on some sort of journey. She I don't think she knows she's doing it. She'll send me on a musical journey where wow, I got to learn something new today. Right. Yeah. And on that one, she wanted to do the Staple Singers on Cloudy Day. And, later Staple Singer songs, when they hit Stax, that stuff is easier to figure out. Right? It really was. It's funk. It's cool, right?
Right. Yeah, because we know Stax by then.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Uncloudy Days, early Staple Singers.
Right.
And she was really pushing me to make sure I got that Pop Staples guitar thing down. And, I mean, I sat there with that record. I listened to it on digitally. I got it on vinyl.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I came down to a point where I ended up a guitar in open E with a capo on the first fret, and I had to move my B string slightly off key because the album, the guitar is off key. It's not tuned. Right? So it's not, well, it's tuned to itself, but it's not tuned to like what it's supposed to be. And it was every year I do that with Christine. I walk in one player. When it's all done, and I go to bed early. I never stay late to the festival. We always play that Sunday gospel thing. I go straight home. I go to sleep. I wake up. I'm a better musician.
Yeah. That's why we show up. That's why we show up. Yeah, agreed. We're getting close to the end, sadly. I'll come back again, and then we'll just talk music. Just talk records. What do you got on the slab tonight?
Tonight, it's a good question. I am, there's a couple, I just picked up a couple records from Iron and Wine.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Not someone I had fully absorbed, but being out with Lee DeWise, that's one of his favorite artists.
Yeah, so, I know a little.
Yeah, it's that's my next study on music, right? Like, I've studied all the guitarists, I've studied the rock, I've studied the songwriter in many ways, but there's this whole world of what I'm currently calling the subtly melodic genius.
Okay.
Right? Cat Stevens is one of them.
Yep.
Right? Too, where it's like they just they don't need 100 chords.
Yeah.
They don't even need more than 2.
Yeah, sure.
But how they build that melody around those 2 chords is just an Iron and Wine is an incredible example of just that vibe that can be built with such an understanding and intricate. Last night I listened to the big record by the band The National for the first time, cover to cover.
Yeah, I don't know that.
And that record was incredible.
Hey, cool.
So I'm probably going to dive into Iron and Wine tonight.
Okay.
And I'm feeling kind of mellow.
Yeah.
But by the time Sunday comes, Sundays are for soul.
Yeah.
And I rewatched that Motown documentary when I was on the road last month.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in a while.
Every time I watch it, I gotta listen to like 7 different Smokey Robinson albums and a couple Marvin Gaye. Right? That's I bought the Marvin Gaye record for You, My Dear.
Sure.
And I've never listened to it yet.
Yeah.
Right, because that's the one thing that happens is when you're trying to hit 365.
Yeah.
You try when you're away for a while on the road, whatever it is, you have to kind of try and get a bunch in a day.
Yeah.
And so the double albums,
always
tend to get skipped, right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to do that this year. So that's a double album, and
Yeah.
that's probably on the slab this weekend for sure.
Pretty bizarre. Yeah, he's kind of getting out there by then. Yeah, no, I hear you. All right, real quick, couple of wrap up questions. What can you think of? What show that you have seen with your own 2 eyes that changed your life trajectory that come to mind early, that you were like, this?
I'd say there were 2 shows that blew my mind when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I would say I did Giant Stadium, the Dave Matthews Band.
Sure.
During the rainstorm.
Sure.
And I watched an entire crowd of people not go away when it rained.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's heavy.
It was unbelievable thunder, the stage, the aluminum. It was unbelievable.
You're like, we could die.
Yeah, but it was just amazing. No one cared. It didn't matter.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then
the power of music.
And then I one of the first times I saw Dave Matthews Band, it was at the Meadows in Hartford, Connecticut.
Sure.
And the opening act was a band called Soul Life.
Oh yeah. Love that drummer.
I went out and bought my first semi-hollow electric guitar.
Yeah.
A few weeks later.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be their guitar player, Eric Krasno. Because my first instrument was actually the turntables.
Oh, cool.
I used to scratch records in grade school.
Yeah.
Like that was like what I wanted to be.
Sure.
And when I heard them, I heard that melding, that understanding of hip hop, funk, soul,
Agreed.
jazz.
Yeah.
And it was I couldn't describe it then, but I loved it.
Yeah,
and I saw that. Then I saw the Dave Matthews Band, and it all just kind of clicked in a very special way for me.
Sure.
And then,
yeah, Soul Lives.
Yeah, it was. So I came out of that funky side, and then so many shows, man. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Lee DeWise, my first show opening for him. I didn't want to do night 2. It was back in 2015.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Every hair on my arm stood up. I saw a guy that was playing 2 chords with an acoustic guitar, right?
Yeah.
Not out there like ripping it, sitting on a stool with a pitch black stage.
What is this? Yeah.
Just
how's he
melodically and vocally grabbing you, taking your heart and not letting it go. And I was like, wow.
Hey.
I want to be able to do that.
That's cool.
So.
All right, make it snappy. I don't want to run out. That's the only problem. I don't care. We could talk forever, but I don't want any of the memories to run out. Desert Island albums, just 5.
Bob Dylan, Blood on the Tracks.
Sure.
Dave Matthews Band, Before These Crowded Streets. Bill Withers.
Sure.
I'd have to go with Live at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
Tim Hardin, 3.
Oh, nice.
Number 5. I need a female on that list, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard to pass up Tom Petty. What you call it? Either Wildflowers or Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Stand the Torpedoes.
Yeah.
But I think I would have to go with Aretha Franklin. I Never Loved a Man.
Sure. Yeah, no arguments there. Desert Island food. What could you eat every day?
Well, what could I eat every day if things like calories and health weren't there?
Yeah, we're in fantasy land.
All right, Sparrow, stuffed pepperoni and cheese bread.
Really? Wow.
Give me a Pepe's bacon pizza.
Well, yeah.
Right. Give me good nachos, not with the liquid cheese, but like the shredded cheese thrown in the oven, melted on top with jalapenos, like they're done right, you know. My mom used to make a killer pasta fazool. I can go for that now.
Oh, yeah. I like
I'm first generation Italian. My father was when he was 16 or 15 years old. So I mean, honestly, I can live on a DeSorbo's sfogliatelle for the rest of my life if I needed to.
Makes sense. I like it.
And good barbecue. Give me Famous Joe's KC barbecue, or I'll take. I actually got to sign a menu in St. Louis at oh my goodness, it's not Joe's, it's I'm going Pappy's. That's it. At Pappy's barbecue, man. That's the vinegar base, man.
Never been.
It's the best, man. Good barbecue's hard to find, man.
I believe you. All right, we gotta go. I don't want to go, but we gotta go. Come back again. Do you want to give a plug to your girl? I shouldn't say your girl, but I don't know how else to say it.
Well, I think she should have her own show.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
I think she should have her own show. I think part of my journey has been, meeting wonderful people, and I'm lucky to have a woman in my life who's an incredible musician.
And her name is?
Her name is Kayla Farnham.
Okay.
And
Coming
check
soon.
her out.
Coming soon. She'll be here. All right, cool. All right, we're going to go. Frank Viele, thank you. I appreciate you showing up. Why not? We've been trying,
I think the juice was worth the squeeze, man.
Hey. You heard it here first. The juice is worth the squeeze. You heard it here first. See, I've been hearing for years that my juice is not worth the squeeze, so I'm glad to hear you say that. John Peckman Podcast, 101st show, 101. How do you feel about that? Is that a lucky number?
I think this was maybe like, Music Industry 101. Let's do it.
Music Industry 101. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Come over the bridge, go run to the satellite, start looking left, look for the red neon sign, pull a U, and park in the street. Thank you, Frank Viele. Thank you, everybody. 101. We got more coming. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please, please, please. Thank you. Drive safe. That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and We can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.